Good morning, everyone. It is Friday morning, December 12th. Happy birthday to my cousin Linda. It's a chilly day in Florida. It's like 42 degrees this morning. For Floridians, that's like a blizzard. I don't think anybody's getting up before 11 o'clock. It's been a crazy day in the markets again. I saw the numbers this morning, what it started at. The gold and silver ratio is compacting. We have gold today at $43.40 an ounce, approximately. Silver at $64.32. It went up $2 yesterday. It's up 80 cents this morning. The ratio is 67 to 1. 67 to 1. Not long ago, it was 92 to 1. It was 100 to 1 within this year. It's 67. Traditionally, it's about 40 to 1. I've heard other numbers, but that's what I've always known the number to be. Back during the time of the Wild West and Depression, maybe then it was about 20 to 1, actually how much silver was in coinage compared to gold. But traditionally about 40 to 1. That would put silver at $108 an ounce. I don't see that. I see silver, I don't know. You know, I'm worried about the big boys stepping in, but at the same time, the world is what is affecting everything, needs and demands. And I can see, I see silver, I don't think so much as a pullback as a slowdown. I think silver is going to hit $80 next year. Gold, no question, is going to hit $5,000. I mean, that's next year. I think things are going to slow some. But I see gold at $5,000. In extreme conditions, $6,000. And then I don't know what. But I got some examples to get people some interesting idea about the metals. But before I talk about that, hey, did you see that auction yesterday? They auctioned off the last 232 pennies, Lincoln pennies, along with a gold Lincoln penny. 232 live auction. The site went down on the first coin, but then they got it all going. I think the cheapest ones are around $50,000 for the 3-coin set, certified, all the way up to, what did the final one, that was the biggie, because the final one came with the canceled dies.
800,000.
800,000.
And it stalled out though. That was interesting. If you watch the bid, it actually at like 700,000, it started really stalling. So it took them a lot to get to that 800,000 mark.
800,000 is serious money. You know, granted, see, I don't believe they're going to stop making pennies. They are what they call business strikes. That's everyday people's pennies. They're still going to, I believe they're going, and I read it in the article, they're going to make pennies for the proof sets. They'll make maybe for the next couple of years, then they'll phase that out. I don't know. But I think they're going to still make pennies for the proof set and the mint sets.
Which the mint set is a business strike penny.
It is a business, you're right, it is a business strike penny. They usually make about 300,000 or 400,000 because there are a lot of collectors of pennies. They may move the mint sets are going to sell not based on the innovation dollar or the Kennedy half. They're going to move on the price of the penny because people need the P's and D's for their sets. They might make 2 million mint sets just to push the pennies. But they basically, for all intents and purposes, they've started making business strike coins for everyday use. I'm hearing crazy numbers out there with people selling pennies for 10 cents a piece. What did my son say? They had like 100 mixed date pennies for $100. Crazy things. I mean, we still have pennies. I'm finishing up a contract I put together that we're hoping to be done by the end of the next week. I sold off 110,000 pennies. Maybe they were 10 cents a piece. Oh, that'd be like $11,000. Anyway, so we'll see what happens with that. But in the same spirit, Here are 2-cent pieces. These are 2-cent pieces. This is another coin that had its day. They ran from 1864. There was a shortage of coin money. People buried their silver in the ground. There just was a shortage. The 2-cent piece lasted from 1864 to 1872. The 72 is a proof-only coin. I think they only made like 1,100. The 71s I've had with a mintage of 65,000. But the first run, the 1864, there's two varieties. There's the small D and the regular D. Maybe I've had 4 of the small D. That's the coin you really go after. That's like a $200 coin in good. But they made 2 million. And that really was enough to alleviate the shortage right there. Because if you're saying, oh, what's 2 million pennies? But once again, it's like when I talked the Great American Teach-In. Most of this country was rural then, and they didn't handle a lot of money. People on farms traded eggs for wheat or bread. Or if you went to the general store, you put your product on the shelf there, and you paid down what you owed the grocery store. He had a ledger, and you paid down your debt. Everybody had, small towns and burgs. They knew everybody in town. So you didn't handle a lot of money. Like I said, you're lucky if you handled $20 or $50 in any given year. But, the city people, that's where they had gold coins, the robber barons, the Gilded Age, the 1870s, 80s, the 1890s, where people spend more money. They spend more money on a cigar than what a family probably made a month. It doesn't sound, but it is. They did not make a lot of money. People did not handle a lot of money. And this lasted, as I said, the run of this was about 7 or 8 years, and then they stopped making 2-cent pieces. Just like it met up with the half penny. At the time of this, you also had a 3-cent nickel, you had a 3-cent dime, and you had a 20-cent piece. There was a lot of money out there. You also had a half dimes that were made of silver. You had a 3-cent silver piece and a half dime. Half dimes ran to, I believe, was 1889, and those were phased out. By 1900, all of those coins were gone. With what you now know, the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, the half. There were no 20-cent pieces, and there were none of the other smaller denominations. Things come and go. What I made here is an example also. What we're going to show you here is an example of gold and silver. We're hearing tale, just as you have Goldbacks, they are now talking about a silverback. I don't know. I mean, when it comes to fractional, here's an example of, this is all fractionals. These are anywhere from a half ounce, quarter ounce. These are all grams. Here's a whole bunch of little grams. 31 grams in an ounce. I mean, can you pay with these? Sure. But, nowadays, a 1 gram is $2 melt, right? That'd be 62, and we got silver at 64. So everything has value, even grams. Once again, be careful of cards that say GR, and it says 10. And if you can bend them in your hand, it's like foil. Those are not grams, those are grains. 482 ounce, not 31. Some people are shysters, some people just didn't know any better, but I think there are many that do know better, and they're just trying to get over on people. Be careful of that, because there's a big difference there between 480 to an ounce and 31. But here's all different sizes. Here's 20 grams, okay? That's 20 1-gram bars. Here is 1/10 of an ounce, 1/4 of an ounce of silver, a half, and the John Wick 1 ounce, which I got when I used to work for the Continental. Well, that's a different story. If you follow the John Wick series, you know what that is. This is a 1 ounce silver. Of course, then you've got silver eagles, You've got all the other forms of silver, 1 ounce, 10 ounce. Silver dollars, your traditional silver dollars. $49 worth of silver in these. The Comems, same amount of silver as the dollar. $49 worth of silver in these. These make good gifts. Give me a call. We probably have about 70 or 80. These, we have a few hundred right now. Person came in yesterday, bought a roll of AU Morgan dollars and a roll of extra fine Morgan dollars. Great Christmas gifts. Put them away. I still give my grandchildren silver for Christmas. I've been doing that since they're born. So, you know, and now, my goodness, I mean, this year they got 100% return on their money. Gold's got over 100% return, maybe 120% return in the last 2 years. That's better than the stock market. I mean, it's there. There's silver in many forms. I don't know how much further it's going to go, but we are in business. We have product. We're going to probably get to you tomorrow with a more in-depth inventory and ideas for the holidays. We're only here about 2 more weeks, and then we take off for the end of the year, places to go, and we got to do inventory. Did you want to add anything, Nate?
No, you got to show them. We also did it in gold for you guys too. Silver, and then here's different types of ways of having gold as well.
Here's a 200th of an ounce, the 200th of an ounce of gold. That is comparable to this, to Pirate Girl. This is 200th of an ounce, that's 200 of an ounce. She's prettier. This is easier to carry. Here's your gram of gold. Now, a gram of gold is about $140, okay? Here's your gram. Here is foreign gold. This is 18.67 of an ounce. This is Mexican. This is 12% of an ounce. This is a bullion gold 1/4 ounce, okay? And it'll tell you that on the front. Be careful of who makes them too. You want to make sure you buy from someone who will back his product. That's a 1/4 ounce pure gold, 4 9s. This is the old constitutional. This is what they call a half eagle. This is a $5 gold piece, 24.4%. Here's a modern one. These came into commemoratives, usually with like the silvers I showed you over there. This was a commemorative one. This would have gone with the Ellis Island one. This is 24.4. This is approximately 1/4 ounces each, 1/4 ounce. I don't have any 1 ounce gold at this time, but it could come in today. Big money. Austrian, pretty coin, 92% pure, something like that. But this is 98% of an ounce. This is not an ounce. If somebody's trying to sell you this for an ounce, be careful. This is 98% of an ounce. So you're starting at about $85 and $90 back just for melt. These are about just under 97%, but this is constitutional gold. So it has the charisma of the old money. So those are different forms of gold. That's all the gold I have in the store. We sold a couple ounces yesterday. And that's basically the overview. We do have Indian head pennies. Actually, I put together, a guy is sending me a certified check. He's buying a bunch of ancients. He wants Indian head pennies. He wants things for the holidays. Holidays are here. And that's anything else?
No, sir.
Well, that covers basically the information. I wanted to give you a little education on where the world is today. And the fact that they had that penny auction, which was exciting and interesting. But we're going to be here. We're going to be here for a while yet. God bless America, greatest country in the world. Thank you.